Mr. Kiyosaki, do you remember what was your first business?
Well, I've had a lot of businesses, a lot of first businesses, but my first one was my little, I was making money out of toothpaste tubes. So
Toothpaste?
When I was a young boy, the toothpaste came in lead tubes.
Yeah.
So we'd melt them down, and I put it in plaster of Paris, and I was making quarters, dimes, and nickels. I found out that was illegal.
Good start. Yeah. Bit illegal.
Illegal,
yeah.
And I found out what counterfeiting is, and I learned a lot.
Yeah. How old were you? 9?
Yeah, about 9.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it your childhood dream to be rich once?
I don't know if it was my dream. I was more curious.
Yeah.
I kept having the question, how come they're rich and I'm poor?
Yeah.
Why are they rich? Why am I poor? And I always wanted to know why, and nobody could tell me. And my parents, who were I'm fourth generation Japanese American to Hawaii, yes. And the Japanese, believed you had to go to school. You had to go to school, get good grades. And so when I said, well, how do I be rich? He said, well, I go to school. And I said, wait a minute. All of my uncles and my aunts and my grandfather and my father and my mother, they all went to school. They're still poor. So I knew there was something missing in school. And then my friends, most of them were white guys. I'm Asian, they're white. And they owned the plantations.
Yeah.
And I said, they know something I don't know. I work for them, do you know? And I started hanging out with the rich white guys, and they didn't know either. None of them knew. They just were rich. So you go to school, you don't get rich, you hang out with rich guys, they don't know why they're rich. And that's when I met my rich dad. I said, somebody could teach me. So at 9 years old, my rich dad began to teach me. And I was just curious.
So your most famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is based on real characters.
Oh, yes.
So the rich dad was the dad of your schoolmate?
My best friend, yes.
Yeah. And the poor dad was?
My dad.
Your dad.
My dad, for Japanese, was very tall. He was 6'4".
I see.
And he was a PhD. He graduated from his first school in only 2 years. 4-year school he did in 2 years. And then he was the head of education, and then he ran for governor of the state of Hawaii. So he was a political person, very smart, academic, political. And my rich dad was an entrepreneur and a scoundrel. So I learned from both dads.
Have you been a good student?
To both dads, yes.
What would your father say if you would see how wonderful your business is today? Was he still alive when you published the book?
No.
No. What would he say?
I had to wait 5 years after my father died to publish the book, because if I had published the book when he was alive, he would have died earlier.
Yeah.
So I waited 5 years. Both my poor dad died, then my rich dad died. And I was now rich. I was not rich. I'm not like a Donald Trump or anything like that. I just never had to work again for the rest of my life, and money was still coming in. So I thought I'd best write how I did it. And so I was sitting and writing and said, just thinking. And also I had a rich dad and I had a poor dad, and the book just started to come out.
Yeah. Is it true that the publishing houses didn't want to publish it?
That's correct.
So you had to publish it yourself?
Yes, I did.
What a lucky day.
Well, even though my father was a PhD, very smart man, and head of schools, I was always flunking out of school because I can't write. And so, and so when I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the publishers are all very smart people. They said, you can't write. And I said, well, you sound like my teachers. So I self-published the book, and that was in 1997. I said, okay, I've done my job. I've told people how I did it. I was already a rich man. I said, so I'm going to do something else. And I was in Australia in the year 2000, and the book has been just moving along the world by itself. People go, hey, you got to read this book, you got to read this book, word of mouth advertising. And then in 2000, I was in Australia, and Oprah called. And Oprah, my wife says, "Hey, Oprah Winfrey called." And I go, "Yeah, so what?" She says, "She wants you on the program." I said, "Well, I'm out. I'm having fun in Australia." And she says, "When Oprah calls, you come home." So I flew all the way from Australia to Chicago.
Yeah.
And nobody knew who I was. And they take me into the studio, and I look up on the stage. There's just 2 chairs, just like this. I go, one chair was for Oprah, and one chair was for me.
Yeah.
So in the year 2000, my book was already a bestseller,
Yeah.
New York Times bestseller. So I sat down with Oprah, and my whole life changed. And suddenly I became famous.
It's quite unbelievable.
Yeah.
If you think about 10 minutes discussion with Oprah.
It was 1 hour.
Yeah.
She gave me 1 hour. And it was the greatest gift she could have. She was a great person.
Yeah.
Greatest gift. At the end of the program, I'm going, she goes, "Bye." I said, and she says, "Hey, I just sold 1 million copies of your book." And I went, "Wow." And I make $5 a book.
Yeah.
I said, "I just made $5 million in 1 hour? That's the most money I've ever made."
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and then from there, because her show was syndicated, as you know, then it went all over the world. And today the book is in, I think, 100 languages or 50 languages, whatever it is, and it's still selling.
Your first company was the one who invented the wallet for surfers. How did you come to this idea?
It was my first big company. I had a lot of small companies, but my first big company, when I went to military school in New York, and I was a sailor. So we were at one time the #1 sailing school in the nation. And we take a leather wallet out onto the water. The leather wallet gets old and crinkly. So we used to get old sails that were destroyed, and we would sew nylon wallets. And so we just, and I used to go around and show my nylon with bright colors, yellow and red and green and all. And people go, "Well, where'd you get that?" So I made it. And so then we started making them. And we went into business. And we started having the wallets made in Taiwan and Korea. And all of a sudden the business took off. And I was in my 20s, just about to turn 30, and I became a multimillionaire. All this money was pouring in, and the money went straight to my head. I thought I was really smart. I'm rich, I'm young, and all this. So my 2 partners and I were 3 guys, all single, lots of money. And we started dating beautiful women, driving fast cars, and the business went boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it ended as bankrupt?
No, I never declared bankruptcy, but I lost $1 million.
Yeah. I think that's a good lesson for a businessman, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You see, the difference between a school teacher and an entrepreneur. In school, they punish you for making mistakes.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs know you're not going to learn anything unless you make a mistake. So I've made so many mistakes. Last year I made a lot of mistakes. But each mistake I make, I get smarter. It's like standing up and falling down, standing up and falling down. It's like learning a language. You make a lot of mistakes. It's like riding a bicycle. It's like flying a plane. You make a lot of mistakes.
In 2007, you wrote a book together with Donald Trump. Did you argue together?
No.
No?
No.
You had the same opinions about everything?
Very much. See, he had a rich dad, I had a rich dad.
Yeah.
We both went to military school.
Yeah.
We both are entrepreneurs. We both write books. We both have television shows. And we both have real estate.
Yeah.
Same people.
How did it in practice look that you had a meeting and sat together by a computer, or you were just sending files from one to another?
I would meet in his office in New York about once a month, and we just discuss it doesn't take long. He's very fast.
Very fast.
He is just like he is on TV. He is no different. He's a very good man. I mean, a good man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll tell you straight, right to your face. He does not mince around. He keeps his agreements. He's a character. He's always poking fun at me.
It's funny that the whole life of yours goes around the money. Money is the subject. Your sister is a Buddhist nun?
Yes.
That's quite a difference. What does she say about your books? Is she interested in? Because I guess a Buddhist nun, is she interested in business or in financials?
She's a very powerful woman. And she always had those religious ideas that money was not important.
Yes.
Then she had cancer, and she had no money. In America, there's no health insurance for it.
Yeah.
So she had to call me up, and I had to write her a check. Otherwise, she'd die.
Yeah.
And then she had heart disease. So I had to write her a check. And then she began to realize that she was taking care of God, but she wasn't taking care of herself. And she hadn't taken care of her finances. And so today, she now comes to me for classes, and I'm teaching, and she has her own website now, and she's becoming a little entrepreneur.